is selling Sacramento. She is. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sacramento, she's selling Sacramento, she's selling Sacramento, oh yeah. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. She is. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. She is. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. She is. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Selling Sacramento, she's selling Sacramento, she's selling Sacramento, oh yeah. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. She is. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. She is. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey everybody, we're about to go on the air. So right now we are live on social media. Thank you, dear.
Oh, cool.
You know, you just put your whole arm in front of the camera.
I never want to know what my arm looks like.
There won't be any second guessing anymore.
12,
Hey everyone, it is Wednesday. You are listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key and we are Selling Sacramento. Remember, Selling Sacramento is brought to you every Wednesday by Matthews & Company Realty Group, where I, Agent Key, am broker and owner and love helping you buy, sell, and retain real estate. So go to agentkey.com, agentkee.com, and let's have the conversation and get you on the path to home ownership or get that house sold for you right away. I want to first say that this is Fair Housing Month. We are in the month of April. Fair Housing Month, y'all. We are actually in a month that purposes this entire show. Can we just say that? I am excited about this entire month. I'm excited about every guest that I have lined up every Wednesday this month. I am super excited about my guest in the house right now. If you are watching on social media, we are on Facebook, Instagram, no, that's a fib. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. If you Google Selling Sacramento on any of those platforms, pull it up and you will see my next guest. She is so dynamic. She is so friendly. She is so purposeful. I had a conversation with her, and I was excited to know that she's in the position that she's in. I'm excited for the day and time that exists right now in housing and to have her here. First, I want to tell you who it is. This is Mrs.
Yes.
Jessica Coates. She is the CEO, y'all. CEO of the Sacramento Association of REALTORs. And let me put that in perspective for you. First of all, she is the first Black female CEO of the Sacramento Association of REALTORs, an organization that historically discriminated against Blacks from even being included in the organization back in the early 1900s,
20s, 30s, 40s. Yeah.
all of it, 20, 30, 40, all the way up through the 60s, let's just say, before fair housing law was enacted.
Mm-hmm.
And so for her to be in this position today is very historical for so many reasons. First of all, to have her here today during Fair Housing Month is very timely. The work that she's been doing, you've been in the position now for a little over 7 months? 8 months.
Yeah.
And she's done some drastic things already. Before I knew that there was a new CEO, I saw and felt the change happening. And I attributed it to Aaron Stump and Kelly Swan and some other folks, because those are some folks who've been in the position at SAR, who've been in leadership, who've been pushing change
Absolutely.
over
They
the
are
past
change
few
agents.
years. Yeah.
Yes.
And so to meet you,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Aaron that was like, y'all need to meet. Keisha, you don't know Jessica? Jessica, you don't know Keisha? We're like, no, hey girl. And so in order just to meet you and to find out that you have done the things that you've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a conversation about steering a ship and how just a tiny, tiny movement in degrees can move a huge ship in a big direction.
Absolutely.
And some of the work that you've been doing so far. Can we talk, first of all, let's let everyone hear from you about who you are,
Mm-hmm.
where you come from,
Right.
and how you got in this position.
Well, first and foremost, hello everyone, and it's an honor to be here with you, Selling Sacramento with Agent Key. I heard about you months ago, and yes, it was my former leadership president of our association, Aaron Stump. She was like, you gotta meet her. She is a leader in the community and one of our stakeholders. So I was hired last summer. And the former CEO retired, so you have to be ready.
Been in that position for
11 years.
Yes,
11 years, and you have to be prepared for opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was a CEO in Howard County, Maryland.
Right.
So a little bit about me, just to give an overview briefing. I started this journey in association management. So the association world, we are a trade association serving real estate practitioners and preferred partners from across the country. And so I started in my hometown of Birmingham, Alabama.
Alabama
That's where I was
girl.
born and raised. And I actually started as a lobbyist, advocating for private property rights in the Birmingham market and serving about 5,000 members in Birmingham, Alabama. We actually covered about 35 municipalities. It was an amazing start, amazing opportunity, but it was a limited bubble of impact. However, advocacy is one of our great pillars that we do for our realtor members and our preferred partners. So that journey was an opportunity to get my feet in the door, to understand what realtors do and what we do for this country and the economy and how we're changing and transforming lives with home ownership. So everyone always asks, how do you go from being a lobbyist and advocating and, crossing over and representing the purple party, which is the realtor party, to being the CEO? Well, I took a chance on myself, and I wanted to have a greater impact. Once I gained the understanding and the respect for what realtors do and how realtors change lives, even reflecting back to when my mother, after a crazy divorce, realized that she wanted to be a homeowner and she wanted to provide this opportunity for her daughter and her son when I was only in the 4th grade. And I remember standing up during Christmas show and tell. Everyone had something they wanted to talk about, but I had just got a house. I had my own room for the first time, and it made me have a sense of community and neighborhood. So thinking about that, having respect for what we do, I wanted to have a greater impact in the industry. So like a lot of us in leadership, there is a pivotal point when you have to bet on yourself, you have to position yourself, make sure that you're qualified and able, but you have to be open for the opportunity. And honestly, Howard County, Maryland was the 4th association that I interviewed with across the country. However, when doors close, you have to get back up, and there will be an opportunity for that door to open. And so that was my first opportunity. So I moved my family, my husband and my 2 kids at the time, from Alabama to Maryland. So that was in 2017. And it was an amazing opportunity to get my feet wet and understand the association management world from the top as chief executive officer. And the next question is, okay, Jessica, you went to Maryland, you did your thing, they were great to me, it was a great opportunity. Why Sacramento? And I have to just be honest, being at the right place at the right time, I knew, because I believe in manifestation, I knew that I'd written down that when the opportunity presents itself, Jessica, you're going to have to be fearless, and you're going to have to be ready. I knew that I wanted to be exactly what Sacramento Association of REALTORs are. They are, and I'm giving them a shout out. There's so many leaders, volunteer leaders who are practitioners and serve in this community, but they are change agents. They are a progressive group. And I appreciate you're giving me props, but I cannot do anything without the progression and the foresight and insight and vision of the current board of directors. Okay?
Because that train was moving, which is what brought you here.
Absolutely.
I agree with you.
So it starts with leadership and their priority and their strategic plan. I'm a part of what they want. I'm a part of their vision. So I have to give them props because we work as a team and serve our 8,600 members here in the Sacramento area. So being in the right place at the right time in Sacramento,
being the right person.
You're right, because you have to be the right appointed person. So that happened, and it was late spring of last year, and I began my journey of interviewing and making sure, as they were interviewing me, I was interviewing them, and making sure that this was a great fit for my family, because I'm in my mid-40s, and I wanted to come somewhere that will be home. So I can plant roots and become a part of the community and live here and enjoy it.
If I could say, you said Sacramento feels like home.
It does. It does. And so I've had a welcome and a great transition in the last 6, 7, 8 months. And we have a lot of work to do, Key. We have a lot of work to do.
Let's talk about what you've done so far. Those little, I call them tiny ship moves, because they are big, They're small, but they are significant.
Definitely. So I'll talk about a few things that we've done together collectively with the board of directors.
Mm-hmm.
So embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion is more than a conversation at the Sacramento Association of REALTOrs. It is a part of our DNA and our fabric and our strategic plan. So it's a difference when you're having conversations versus putting action into place.
Right.
And
what does it look like?
I'm proud to say that we put a few slight changes, but transparent and intentional changes to be more inclusive and to set ourselves apart from the other 94 associations in this great state of California. So one thing that I have to give leadership credit for is deciding on leadership paths. So we serve our members, but we also create leadership opportunities for them to make the changes that affect the industry, whether it's in advocacy, whether it's in professional development, and opening up the criteria and expanding it where it can be all-encompassing with your leadership skills and skill set, not just having it marginalized to what we've been doing for years, but opening up the criteria so there is a clearer path for more people that represent different groups with different perspectives.
Can you give us an example of that? Because I know what you're talking about, but this is something that's big for me because I always talk about just how if someone is in elementary school or junior high or high school or college, they're not thinking about becoming the CEO of the Sacramento Association of REALTORs. Is not on their radar. Housing, for the most part, is not on some people's radar. By being a homeowner, so how do we have those conversations? How do we make the opportunities available? And that's what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's two caveats. I know you're talking about a career path, and I was sharing just a small tweak in some of our rules and regulations and structure within the association that we're opening up the path to more realtors for leadership. So one example is, we have a memorandum of understanding with some of our sibling organizations that represent, I would say, the groups that are not represented. I can give you an example where NARAB, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, better known as the Realtists, that were formed in 1947. We have a memorandum of understanding with the local chapter. Also ARIA, the Asian Real Estate Association of America, and also NORA, the National Hispanic Organization of Real Estate Associates. And these organizations were formed because they were not accepted in the profession of real estate with the National Association of REALTORs. So partnering with these groups that represent these special ethnic groups and building them in leadership and creating paths, we have a partnership beyond just a conversation. We have something in writing that will outlive me, outlive Aaron Stump, and outlive the current leadership. And some of the criteria that we tweak to be a leader on the board of directors is if you've had leadership in ARIA, if you've had leadership with the Realtists, you've had leadership with NORA, those years of leadership count for you to be more than qualified to serve at the board of directors level. And that's opening and widening the path for more leaders that look like me, look like you, and other brown, yellow, and black people.
So the parallel to that, so me talking about the career path and you talking about it being internal, the parallel is that good old boys network that kind of gets created when you don't do that. We get the same people in leadership positions over and over again, or we get the same people in industries over and over again. And so it's more. You have to do more than just talk about inclusivity, which is what I love.
It's small tweaks of intention.
Very small, but so significant.
Definitely. You have to think outside the box. Because, we all get complacent in our own network, in our own bubble. But if you really are walking the walk and you're embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion, you have to change how you think, how you include, how you recruit, and how you retain. You have to think about everything. And it goes beyond the color of our skin, the sizes of companies, the years in the industry, whether you are part-time or full-time agent. It's so many aspects of diversity, but it's intentional tweaks and changes. You know? So that was one example. And I talked to...
That just made me... It just kind of goes back to this little boat analogy again. again, or ship analogy, because that one little tweak changes the course of the whole ship. And so now the course of the organization has been changed with that one little tweak. So in the next 1 to 2 years, we can expect to see leadership possible. You have what that little tweak has increased the possibility of the spectrum of leadership in the organization.
Yeah, and I'm proud to say that I'm a part of an association that's truly diverse, but we want more.
Yeah.
There's more seats at this table. We want to create more opportunities.
Yeah.
And to take it further, we want to educate our members to be better. To be better advocates for home ownership, to be better for our consumers.
Yes.
And it takes fair housing education, more professional development, because we got work to do.
So on the topic of fair housing education, there's something significant going on with the Realtor Association this month.
Yes,
Talk
so
to us about that.
I cannot express, we're almost at our 55th year, April 11th, I think, 55th year of the signing of the National Fair Housing Act. And I would say is one of the most important pieces of legislation in American history. Even the significance of it being signed finally, after the assassination of our wonderful Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is just so significant. And here we are in April, 55 years after we're signing this piece of legislation, and we're commemorating the Fair Housing Act. And, we do it in so many ways beyond education, because unfortunately, there are still fair housing cases all across this country.
I feel like we're just now actually really, and not to throw any shade to the work that's already happened, to what our leaders have done. They've been on their posts doing the work that they've been called to do, and now we're at a time where there's another group of individuals moving into these positions of leadership that are pushing it across the finish line. Individuals such as yourself.
Definitely.
Individuals that I consider myself one of those people, being able to speak out freely about it in a way where we're actually educating and bringing information and resources directly to the masses to help promote change. So with this fair housing event.
So it's called the Sacramento Association of REALTORs First Time Home Buyer Expo, and this is our first time having it at our home base at the association in our event center, and it's this Saturday, April the 8th, from 10 to 2, and it's so cool that you're giving me the opportunity to talk to the community, because it's a community-free event. If you ever thought about being a homeowner, if you are not fully equipped, or you don't feel confident enough, this is the event that will give you the information and resources to take the next steps. There's so many cool resources out.
Can
everybody's
a little bit about what can they expect to happen at this event?
Besides the free food, the food truck, and the entertainment for your children, because you don't have any excuses, guys. Come on out. We're going to have speakers from Cal FHA. We got Golden State Finance Authority. Wells Fargo's Mortgage is our platinum sponsor. But we're going to be talking about the California Dream for All Down Payment Assistance program.
20% down.
Girl,
yes.
That is amazing.
That's huge.
It's amazing. And so it's fresh, it's new, it's opportunity. And
the market is picking back up because of that.
Those are incentives to get to the closing table if you had a doubt. Because one thing about some of our communities, and in African American communities, some of us are first generation homeowners or second generation homeowners. We're behind the 8 ball when it comes to generational wealth. But this is a community event that everyone is invited. Everyone, you're never too old, never too young to achieve the American dream and have a piece of ownership. But what are you missing? What are we lacking? Come get, fed,
They don't
entertained.
have to commit to anything, which is what I like about it. Come and do what I like to say is just have the conversation. Figure out, you can't get somewhere if you don't know where you are right now.
Absolutely.
So go to this event on Saturday, learn what you can, and map out a plan towards home ownership. And where should they go? Where is this event? You said
it's at the Sacramento Association of REALTORs, and that's 2003 Howe Avenue, right there in Arden Arcade.
Okay.
Community, not far from here in the studio. And we're right across from Home Depot. It's going to be indoors, outdoors, all encompassing. Like I said, entertainment for the kids. We really want the community to come out and not feel like they have to get a babysitter or they have to do this, they have to do
so
this.
They can
bring everyone.
The kids. Yes.
Bring everyone.
Yeah.
Because we want you to walk away empowered.
And it's free.
It's absolutely free.
And the time again?
10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
10 to 2 p.m., y'all. 10 to 2 p.m. at the Sac Powell Community Center.
It's the Mac Powell.
Look, I
yeah,
gave it a
but
name.
it's at the Sacramento
Mac Powell
right.
Community Center, the Sacramento Association of REALTOrs. Google that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Check my sites when the show is over, and I'll have the information up for you. We're going to take a break. We are a little bit past the time that we're supposed to take a break, but this is how this is going to go today.
Great conversation.
This is how it's going to go, so get ready.
Yeah.
We may not take another break. I don't know. We just have to see. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we will be right back.
All right. That's fun. See, you and I talk naturally.
I love it.
Hello, Sacramento. It's Vince and
Key coming to you from the Matsui Waterfront Park, continuing the countdown with number 7 of the top 10 things to do in downtown Sacramento.
Selling sack, selling sack, selling sack, selling sack, selling sack, selling Sacramento, buying the block back. Selling sack, selling sack.
Hanging out on the Sacramento River is a favorite pastime among Sacramentans.
Ride the bike.
Ride the bike.
Ride the bike. And as you guys remember from the last video, we tried to do the jump bikes, but they didn't work.
You guys know the bikes that they have now out, the little red bikes, jump bikes. They weren't charged.
They weren't taking a charge.
We got to figure that out.
Yes, exactly.
So take your chance, but the bike would have been cool had it worked for us.
But guess what? They updated the jump bikes. We were able to do the jump bikes.
Yes, the bike update is tight. Getting the bikes can be a little bit of a task. I must tell you, you first must download the Uber Bike app.
You have to have 2 separate credit cards if you want to rent two different bikes.
1 credit card per bike.
Correct.
Yeah.
We had to find out the hard way, like 5 minutes in.
10 minutes in of my time. My bike was right, his wasn't. So we get the bike. I immediately fall. I hadn't ridden a bike in a long time. So we hit the
She
trail.
didn't really fall. She sort of fell slowly and jumped off.
So we hopped on the bikes in this episode. We're cruising down the bike trail, and we're going to show you guys all of the different things that you can do hanging out on the Sacramento River. The Robert T. Matsui Waterfront Park will act as a destination attraction along the existing Sacramento River Parkway bicycle trail that connects Old Sacramento to Discovery Park. Currently getting a nice facelift, the project is being developed in phases with the first phase already completed.
So we're riding along the Sacramento River on the bike trail. We're seeing all different types of people and activities. You see people on skis, jet skis, on the boats. We see guys out fishing.
Lots of beautiful scenery where you get to stop and take pictures and take selfies.
And this one here wanted to take selfies all day. I was melting. Chocolate melts.
Well, yeah. I'm chocolate too, but it was nice. It was really
Very
nice.
nice ride though. Very nice ride.
The people all seemed nice as we ran into them. They looked like they were regulars on the trail because they were. Timing is perfect. Hey, hi, Miss Angela. If you guys are out there watching, say something, put something in the chat, let us know you're there. Hey, Miss Ange.
There you go.
Hey, y'all, we are back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key. We are Selling Sacramento. And on today's show, we are talking about from discrimination to diversity and the change that has happened at the Sacramento Association of REALTOrs under the new leadership of its new CEO, Miss Jessica Coates.
Hi.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back.
Welcome back from the break to the show.
Right.
And while we were on the break, I was talking to you about something that I want you to talk to the listeners about. We had a really nice conversation before you got here, before all of this happened.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, she's for real. Like, she's not a puppet in a position because, historically sometimes we put us in positions so that we can check the box.
Right.
But you are not a puppet.
Absolutely
You
not.
are for real.
Hopefully I am.
Yes, you are.
Pinch me.
Yeah, and I want you to talk about, because someone is listening right now, perhaps a young lady, a woman, even what we're getting ready to get into next applies to everyone.
Yes.
And it's about going after something bigger than you. Mm-hmm. It's about doing something outside of the lines, outside of the norm. Mm-hmm. It's about stretching yourself.
Yes. So, happy you're bringing this up because there is someone out there listening and they may be in internal turmoil or transition, and I just want to share my small testimony.
Please do.
Because hopefully it can inspire someone. So, I was working for the government, Jefferson County Commission and Human Resources, very comfortable, great benefits, and something happened. There was a pivot point of being laid off and trying to figure out life. Thank God I did have a spouse that could hold us down financially and give me an opportunity to figure out what's next for me. Yeah. Did I want to go back to school? Did I want to pursue this career? Did I want to teach Pilates or Zumba at the YMCA, which I did in the interim.
Okay.
But I also had a love for relationships and leveraging relationships. And I had two girlfriends that were attorneys, and we were all about creating a business and creating a resource that fit a need in the community. We were about a year away from some local primary elections. And like I said, I have a lot of relationships being born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, and my mom being in politics as in tax collection for Jefferson County. And so we created a consulting firm, and we wanted to represent clients who aspired to be, local electeds. And so, using the relationships and utilizing my gifts and talents, we had clients and we were prepping them for the primary race, helping them with speech writing, helping them with campaign material and fundraising. Mm-hmm. You can't do it without funds to get you where you need to get, especially when you're going up against an incumbent. And so in that journey, I made time for one client that was pursuing to raise more money. And I'm going to get straight to the meat of it. And we went to the Birmingham Association of REALTORs, and we were seeking endorsement and we were seeking funding and investment in this campaign that we were being paid to help and represent. Mm-hmm. And in that, I was being myself,
right?
Naturally being friendly, embracing the board of directors, and also anyone that was greeting and meeting the candidates that were up for interviews with this panel to be endorsed and to get investments for the campaign. And in that, apparently I made an impression on the board of directors and the CEO at the time. And he's a significant player in my journey. And weeks later, we didn't get the endorsement. Mm-hmm. We lost to the incumbent because, the relationships are important. But I got a phone call.
Weeks later,
I got a phone call, and it was someone wanting to orchestrate a meetup and a meet and greet with the CEO and a few of his senior staff to talk about Jessica Coates. What's next? We met you. We want to see. Are you interested in association?
What thoughts are going through your mind at this time? They're reaching out to you.
Do you want the truth?
I will.
Key, I honestly thought it was just a person trying to hit on me.
Yes.
Being in, the professional realm, sometimes things happen and, I didn't realize that this was a serious inquiry and he actually wanted to talk business. Right. So after 2 attempts, I finally took him up on a lunch date and he had his full staff of executive leadership, and he wanted to talk about the vacancy of the lobbyist position. He said, I don't know much about you, so this is the starting point to get to know you, but we are looking for a lobbyist to advocate on behalf of real estate and home ownership in the state of Alabama.
You must have made quite an impression for them to see you outside of the task that you were originally there for.
So I came with my little resume, and to be honest with you, I was so intimidated because I didn't think I was qualified, and I just didn't think that I had intimate knowledge about real estate outside of being a homeowner. My husband and I we were homeowners, but we weren't practitioners.
Right.
And I didn't have anybody in my inner circle practicing real estate. So guys, believe it or not, I declined. I declined, and immediately I regretted it. And within a month, they came back.
Okay, now I want to pause right there, because you've said twice now, when he initially reached out, you declined him, and he came back to set up the interview again.
To set up a lunch date.
And then when you're in this lunch date, they offer you the position, you decline, and then they come back.
It was, to be honest with you, it was self-doubt, and I allowed fear to creep in. And this was the moment where perfect strangers, they saw something in me that I didn't believe within myself. And I know those are defining moments. Sometimes we're too blind and we're overwhelmed with fear to recognize it. But, I was at the right place at the right time, and I had whatever they saw.
Yeah.
And I initially declined, but after communicating and going back and forth, I took a chance on myself. That was the very first time.
We need to get you a T-shirt that says
because this was the first career opportunity where I was out of my comfort zone.
Right.
I wasn't working for the government, which I had worked for many years before my layoff. And my husband, who's always been my cheerleader, he was in the background saying, "You can do anything."
Wow.
My mom, who was my greatest influence, she said, "Girl, jump to this opportunity.
The importance of your circle.
Jump to your opportunity." And those are the biggest cheerleaders in my life.
Yes.
Everybody has a couple on their shoulder, whether it's an angel or your parents or your spouse, but they were cheering me on and encouraging me to step beyond the fear I had. And it was the best decision I could have made, because it started something that was bigger than me. It gave me an opportunity and a path that a lot of women of color, a lot of people of color hadn't tapped into this industry. And it's so rewarding, because what do we do as realtors? What do we do as real estate practitioners? Like I said earlier, we're transforming lives and communities. And I just don't know any other industry that has the impact on generations, the impact on wealth.
For you to have the courage to do that, because of course you're this super smart woman, because I'm sure when they extended the invitation to you, you immediately started doing your homework about what is this profession? What are they asking me to do?
Oh yeah, and when the reality of a lobbyist advocates for whatever industry appoints them, is understanding the industry and what our agenda is at the Capitol, what our agenda is at the local level with your mayors and your city council. And I knew that was the learning curve, but I had the confidence in building relationships. And of course, being in Birmingham, Alabama, which was the only blue dot in the red state, I had to be confident to walk on both aisles, because I had an agenda of real estate initiatives and legislation. So it was the best decision of my life, and I was there lobbying for the Birmingham Association of REALTORs for about 5 years. And I have to tell you how the guy that took a chance on me, his name is Cliff Long. He's the CEO of the Orlando Association of REALTORs now in Florida. But when an opportunity was presented to him to level up in his career, when he resigned, that was the pivotal point for what was next for me. And it wasn't that my season is parallel with him, but it actually challenged me to ask the questions like, what's next? Is this a job or a career, Jessica? This was a career path for me. It was beyond the 9 to 5. It was being a part of a movement, being a part of the disparities in the community, and building.
At that time, did you know that there was something bigger that you were, or were you just kind of moving on the hunches and the
I have to tell you, my last program and project in Birmingham, Alabama, was I produced a documentary okay, of fair housing, education, and redlining of Birmingham, Alabama. Now, I was one of the many producers. It was a team effort, and it was funded by the National Association of REALTORs. Shout out to NAR. Fred Underwood, who retired, he was a fair housing VP. He found me about $15,000 to complete that project.
Wow.
But that was the last project, and we partnered with the city of Birmingham, and we had a movie night in the heart of Birmingham, Alabama, with a 27-minute documentary on just the history of redlining in Birmingham.
Okay.
And it was deep.
So does this documentary still exist?
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Okay, you're gonna have to send me the link. I didn't know about that.
I will. So I can't take credit for everything, but I was a part of getting it done and executed.
Okay.
That last project in the last 7 months, because it took about 7-8 months to get it completed to the end, was the transforming of information and the wow factor of this is big.
Okay.
So
going through that process of creating that documentary and the information that had to have been dropping in your spirit and your thoughts, and once you see something, you cannot unsee it.
You hear about redlining, but when you unpack the history of the city that you live, born, and breathe in, it does something to you because you understand why your community is the way it is.
Girl.
You understand why you have
Jessica,
extreme poverty here.
Yes.
Why you have more resources here.
Yes.
When it gets real,
Yes.
when you have data and history.
And you can't not unsee that.
Never.
Anymore. You can't.
Never.
Yeah. You
Never.
have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
When you're called, you have to act.
Absolutely. So that was the aha moment for me in the career journey was this is bigger than me.
Yeah.
This is a marathon. This is not a sprint.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So that was the defining moment. And when I said, I want to have a greater impact. How do you lead, and impact more people? You have to be the leader.
Yeah.
And it's scary sometimes, even when you don't feel equipped.
Yeah.
But when you feel called, it's different.
Yeah.
The
burden, you can't shake it, but it's like, well, what else are you going to do?
Right.
Because you're not going to be comfortable not completing it.
Yeah.
So you just move forward.
Absolutely. So I hope that inspired someone because that was a defining moment for me and taking chances, even when you don't feel 100% confident, you will know if it's right.
Valencia is watching online on Facebook, and she said, God's plan and purpose for you prevailed.
Absolutely. I believe that with all my heart.
Wow. I knew there was something. We had talked about it, and I can hear it in your voice, and I hear it in the passion. I hear the passion, and I knew that there had to be like some defining moment. And so I can't wait to see the documentary.
I can't wait to share it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, one more question.
Okay, let's go.
How do you envision the future of real estate and the role of realtors in ensuring equitable and affordable housing for all?
That's a heavy question.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit a few key points, and I jotted down some notes.
Okay.
So I think realtors are beyond being gatekeepers, and in the future I see us playing a more prominent role as guides.
Yeah.
Guides in building communities, guides in transforming families, but being that resource. So I always like to think about, when we're changing the narrative and we're doing things to promote the importance of using a realtor.
Yeah.
In the future, I want the community and our stakeholders to look at us just as they rely on doctors, just as they rely on attorneys for law and practicing law. I want everyone to feel like they can't afford not to use a realtor. So with that level of trust, it comes education,
right,
and higher performance and professional development.
Right,
we have to show up and be reliable and consistent,
right,
and inclusive of all. So that's where the work comes in and the opportunity, because we're behind. Beyond the home ownership level that we're trying to increase for all people. We as practitioners, we have to level up in our professional way we show up.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot with this question.
Try me.
Because you just said that, and I've been saying that for years, that there's nobody out there policing us. It's like the Wild Wild West. So we have our code of ethics, the Realtor Code of Ethics, but you have two things going on. Someone can be a real estate salesperson and not be a realtor.
In the state of California, that's right.
Yeah. And then you have realtors who pledge to abide by the code of ethics, and sometimes they are in the gray.
Absolutely. I've seen cases since I've been here, and I'm going to say this statement, and I know everyone will understand the words from my mouth. If you see something, say something. We have to hold one another accountable as professionals. That is really the only way we're going to move forward in how we empower and improve professionalism. There are structure in place, professional standards and grievance opportunities.
You just opened the door. I was going to say that next because I sit on the grievance committee.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. And I am excited that just in my short time being there, I made a suggestion. There was a question that was asked, and they asked my opinion. I made a suggestion, and within less than a month, they accepted my suggestion. They tweaked the website, small, tiny change, so that now if there is a grievance, it's a lot more specific and clear on the information that you need to provide in order to get your case past the grievance committee. Because at one point, if you didn't provide a certain amount of documentation to support what it was that you were complaining about or what you were grieving over, the grievance committee didn't have to ask you for it. They just look at it and they say, it's not there, and then they move on, and your case doesn't go beyond the grievance committee. And I actually went to our website to see, well, what does it actually say? And then I went to the DRE website to see what their grievance process was. And I noticed side by side, okay, the DRE actually says include these documents, and they give a list of examples.
Oh, wow. You're teaching me something right now.
But they took the leadership, right? Back to the leadership saying, hey, we want you on this committee because we're trying to make change. We're trying to do things differently. We've been on here. A lot of us have been on this committee for a while, but you're fresh meat, Keisha. What do you see? What do you think we should do? And so being able to make that small change made me feel like, wow, I really am a part of something big.
Yeah, greater than
and
yourself.
Change really is coming, right? Change is here.
It is.
It's not coming, it's
present.
Here, and we're open to it.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I know that.
So I just want to
thank you for your
if
your
we can
input.
tell people to go to the grievance committee or the grievance website. There is a website link at SAR. What is our website at SAR? Sacramento Association of REALTORs. Sacramento. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Google Sacramento Association of REALTORs. I'm sorry, we put him on the spot. But if you Google that and you go to, I think it's,
it's SacRealtor.org.
SacRealtor.org.
www.sacrealtor.org. I want to add something to the information you just shared, because thinking about our audience and they're the consumer. So on SacRealtor.org, there's an opportunity for the consumer to file a claim if someone is not treating you fairly and they're violating the code of ethics.
I wanted to pull the website up.
There's an opportunity for the consumer as well as realtors. Going back to the statement, how do we increase professionalism? If you see something, say something. We have to set boundaries and healthy, I would say, well-needed consequences for bad behavior and discrimination.
Right.
There's zero tolerance for discrimination of any form.
So if you go to that website, sacrealtor.org, and under consumers, there is a drop-down menu that says dispute resolution.
Yes.
And if you click on dispute resolution, it gives you options to file either an ethics complaint, mediation, or arbitration.
Yes.
And that is the Sacramento Association of REALTORs' effort to extend ourselves to the community, as you say.
Yes.
Be a guide.
Be a guide, but also, be a resource.
Be a resource.
If things aren't right. Because ultimately, we want you to get to the closing table.
Yeah.
But if you have
if you see bad players out there, is what we're saying.
That's exactly
what we're saying. If there's some bad
saying.
actors out there, we are saying, see something, say something.
Absolutely. And that just helps with raising the bar for professionalism. It's important, but ultimately, we're advocating for private property rights and getting you to the closing table to acquire wealth.
Yes. And then, you know what? And out of all of that, I didn't even ask the question that I was initially going to ask, that where you were like, wait a minute, what are you going to say? The standard that we're wanting to hold agents to. I had recently taken some courses, and I'm trying to get my certification for HUD home counseling.
Oh, right.
The courses that you have to take are just absolutely amazing.
Wow.
And I am thinking this needs to be a requirement for all real estate agents to get their license and watch the game change.
Wow, and this is for the certificate through HUD you're getting?
HUD.
We need to have a private conversation
honey.
then.
Oh, yes. Now, someone out there is going to be mad at me.
Well,
but we're talking about raising the bar, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the level of professionalism and having the consumer really be able to trust the amount of information, the amount of education that you have to know in order to pass those courses. And it doesn't take you very long either. You could probably be done in about a week. It's self-moving type of information right there online. But yeah, let's talk about that.
Definitely. You're full of resources and ideas, and that's what we welcome.
Well, but back to
Sacramento.
you. Look, I'm throwing you on the I'm not throwing you under the bus, but kind of taking advantage of the fact that you're in this seat right now. But I want to get back to you because we only have a few more minutes. Actually, let's take a break so that when we come back, we can close out with a few final thoughts from you.
Wonderful.
And then we'll check on some comments in the comment section, and then come back from the break and talk about those comments.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. You are listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we'll be right back.
What's the final question so I can slam dunk?
So it's a great opportunity again to get your exercise and running on. But like Ben said, there were also people boating and fishing. So you can actually go out on the water with your little fishing boat
and catch some salmon, bass, whatever.
Right. What did that guy? He
had a nice stripe.
It was
bass.
pretty big. It was,
look, she said.
Did I do like that? It was pretty big. Actually, it was pretty big.
And you can actually catch sturgeon in this river as well.
Yeah. So if you like beer and boating and paddling and parties, then you want to jump onto the Sacramento Brew Boat. There are tours available, and there's a link attached here if you want to contact them. Bring your crew. I think there's a minimum drink level, there's a minimum age, but that party boat was on and cracking.
Which is very similar to the Brew Bike.
Right.
You're just on the water. All right, guys, we rode from Old Sacramento down to Discovery Park, where most people go to dock their boats, get the boats in the water, jet skis and everything like that. And we ran into our friend, what's his name? Caden.
Yes, Caden told us about his experience traveling down the river with his friends.
I've been boating out here for about 10 years, and I really like the fact that there's several places along the river to stop. You can eat or drink and socialize, and I always bring my friends from out of town to tour Sacramento from the river.
Nice.
And it's a whole different perspective, so they really like it.
Hey, and most of you guys know in the Discovery Park as well, they do have concerts, they have picnics, they have picnic areas, so it's a cool place to just go and hang out. We sort of just rode through there. We didn't see a lot of people out that day, but for the most part, it's a beautiful place to hang out, beautiful park.
I liked it. It was really spacious, so if you have a really large group of people, Discovery Park would be a really nice place to do your picnicking. They had tons of tables, tons of grass area, and it was a beautiful place to be. So while you're cruising on the river and hanging out on the Sacramento River, don't forget to take advantage of a great opportunity to eat at some great restaurants.
Tons of eateries, guys.
Right along the river, such as Swabby's on the river, Chevy's on the river, the Virgin Sturgeon, Crawdads, Scott's Seafood, Pearl on the River, Rio City Cafe, Joe's Crab Shack, and more.
Hi, you are on Front Street in Sacramento, Old Sacramento, and this is the Upcycled Pop Market. It's here every Saturday from 11 to 5, and there's a variety of different vendors. We all hand make our items. We have jewelry makers and artists, and I am a food artisan. So I make all homemade goodies that are natural, good for you, no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, just a really great way to satisfy a sweet tooth. So these are called pop-ins because you pop them into your mouth. There's 13.
We're back. So Sequoia is saying, we're going to talk about what Sequoia said.
What she said?
Hold on 1 second, because
We'll
talk about it.
Here we go.
Hey everyone, we're back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am here with the lovely CEO, Miss Jessica Coates or I should have said that kind of out of order. The lovely Miss Jessica Coates, CEO of the Sacramento Association of REALTOrs.
Hi.
And we have a comment from a viewer, Miss Sequoia Carter. Hey, Miss Sequoia, she said, wow, how awesome. The documentary can help illustrate one of the reasons reparations are in order. Ooh, that's another conversation.
Ooh.
Especially when you're not familiar with the struggles of the black community. Easier to understand when you can see it than empathize. Thank you for that feedback. And then Angela says, that's the magic word, accountability. So thank you. If you're watching us on social media right now, we have a few minutes. If you want to give a comment to Jessica, if you want to ask her a question, just a few more minutes before we go off air. But before we do, I want to allow you this opportunity to talk to us about upcoming events at SAR and just kind of wrap this thing in a pretty little bow.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity once again.
We're going to have her back, ladies and gentlemen.
Definitely.
During the break, we were talking about some things like, oh my gosh, we cannot start that conversation.
Yeah, right.
It's going to take a whole nother hour or two. We may need to have you just come back quarterly.
Well, you know what? I welcome the opportunity.
Yes.
So, couple things in closing. I wanted to just share again that this Saturday, April the 8th, at the Sacramento Association of REALTORs, that's 2003 Howe Avenue.
You know you're at the right place when you see Home Depot
right
across
guess what?
the street.
They're one of our partners.
Oh, yay!
They're going to have something set up for children to build and create.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. I never thought about the relationship.
Oh, definitely. We are tapping into all of our community stakeholders. I don't even want to start listing them off, but Home Depot is definitely partnering with us.
Bring your kids.
So I can't say enough. Bring your family, bring your friends. And REALTORs, think about the clients that didn't quite get to the closing table. This is the opportunity to make sure they are informed and they know a little bit more about the resources that are present now in the state of California. So April the 8th, 10 to 2 p.m., free food trucks. You're going to see the balloons. You're going to see all the fun and festivities. Come and hang out with us and walk away with information. And I have to shout out the Sacramento Masters Club, which they are donating and have donated a beautiful resource booklet. So when you walk away, you're not just walking away with notes. You're going to walk away with a booklet of resources that you can flip back and refer to just in case you qualify for something or maybe you don't qualify for something.
Right.
So you're going to walk away with a resourceful tool.
So that you can do some follow-up.
Absolutely. And
great day of learning, it sounds like.
Great day of learning. And one thing that I failed to talk about, well, I'm just going to mention that when I was talking about the path of leadership, I didn't pull that from the top of my head. It's actually our theme of our current president, President Sherry Hunt, creating more pathways to leadership for REALTORs in their journey, in their career. So that is something you're going to be paying attention to, those shifts. And as we were talking about those small tweaks, and we changed the direction of the boat, but we also changed the culture. That's important.
Yeah.
When the culture changes, everybody sees it, feels it, breathes, and believes that we're truly on this journey.
And with the culture changing, that means that sometimes there are going to be people that don't want the culture to change.
Hello.
And what I have, and we all have experienced at some point in our lives where nothing remains the same and things change.
It's inevitable
change. It's inevitable. And either you go with it or you're stuck and you're left behind. And just like the market conditions themselves, they've been changing every 30 days. And if you're not, as real estate professionals on the front line, if you're not out there, you might be thinking, this month is a buyer's market. This may not, if you're listening to this recording, or if you're listening to this episode and it's a recording 1 month from now, it actually might be a buyer's market again. Who knows?
Who knows?
But the point is that you've got to stay on top of and in front of change. And it may not be something that you like, but that's why the importance of learning and understanding is so important. Because I remember, and I know we said we only have a few minutes left, but I remember the days when the microwave, I was probably, I don't know, maybe elementary school or even younger, when the microwave hit the scene.
That was a hot topic.
Oh my gosh, that's the devil. You
were
stand in front of it, you're going to die. You know, oh my gosh, your food is going to you're going to eat that and get cancer, blah, 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 blah. And they don't even build a home anymore without a microwave in it.
Absolutely, or the evolution of cell phones from pagers.
Oh.
You know, we lived that life, this generation.
Well, and the cell phones when they were in the car, remember they were the big box thingies, you know, you'd walk around, and you had to be very wealthy to have a cell phone. Now, the majority of people that I know have cell phones. Microwaves, you can buy one for $50 or $60, you know. And the point is that something that's new might look a little strange on the surface at the moment because it's unfamiliar. But that's where grace and mercy comes in. That's where getting to know each other, being, like you said, you took a chance on yourself. You were stepping into waters you have paved the way. You are paving the way for not just little black and brown little girls, but for anyone who has ever thought about taking a chance on themselves. Your story is helping them to take a second look and say, maybe I just should. Because look at Jessica. And her holiday hair, her vacation hair.
Yes, it gives me chills. I'm honored. And I feel extremely blessed to be in this position, and I don't take it for granted. And I'm excited about the work we're doing and the future of real estate and in Sacramento. They're in a poised position of growth here. I recognize that immediately. Even with coming right in August and having the local elections and getting to know the leaders and their platform, and it's a lot of home ownership champions on the city council. So we're excited to partner with everybody.
California is now, it was for a long time the 5th largest economy in the world. We are now the 4th largest economy in the world. Sacramento, right there in the center, the heart of it, all the governmental decisions are taking place right here. There is a lot happening here in the capital. We used to be known as the Cow Town for many years when the Sacramento Kings
and now
were
we
here.
Made the Forbes list.
And the Kings are in the playoffs.
Absolutely, being the light.
There's so much happening that's changing, and if you sit too long and you look at the trees and don't see that we actually have this forest, you might miss it.
Absolutely.
I appreciate having you here. There's a comment by a viewer, Miss Linda Taylor. Hello.
Hi,
she
Linda.
said, great interview with Jessica Coates. Love it. And congratulations,
Thank you,
Mrs.
Linda.
Coates.
I appreciate it.
We want to thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you, Jessica. She
Thank
will be
you.
back, everyone. She will be back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key. And remember, if you are doing what you were created to do, I will see you at the top.
All right. That was fun.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Wave bye to the people. Yes. We'll see y'all next week. I got to go find a taco. Y'all know me.